I'm going to move on to the next topic. Connecting with that meme that you remember that I shared with you, that image of that Iranian lady who is in Toronto. It was one of the was lighting a picture of the Ayatollah with a cigarette. And this case was publication that talking about Keir Starmer. That I need to address something about Keir Starmer. I haven't spoken about Keir Starmer in a while. For the sad cunts that reported my post as hateful imagery leading to a 12-hour ban, which rather than delete, I deactivated, appealed, and got overturned, here is an improved version. F you wankers. F you wankers. Oh my God. This is what happened. I have to mention a couple of things about Keir Starmer because I couldn't believe my ears when I heard the video that I'm going to play. I'm going to make sure that the video has sound, by the way. Breaking news, new poll reveals Keir Starmer has a lower approval rating than Hitler in the ruins of Berlin just before he shot himself. Make of that information what you will. Make of that information what you will, Keir. Basil the Great. Keir Starmer has been asked to ban one, the Muslim Brotherhood, which, by the way, Marco Rubio announced today that the Muslim Brotherhood was finally being banned. He was asked to ban cousin marriage or incest. There's no way for that. No other way for that. Medical experiments on children. That is one of the favorite pastimes of libtards, of the left, labor, Democrats, chopping kids' dicks. That's something that they just, I don't know, they find some kind of morbid pleasure on that. Halal slaughter, which, in case you don't know, halal slaughter comes from, the Islamic practice of slaughtering animals by bleeding them to death. All right, they are a version of halal slaughter, but the traditional way, they literally are conscious. The animal is conscious and bleeds to death. So that is something that. Why is that happening in the UK? Why is that happening in the Western world? I have no idea. But it shouldn't be happening in the UK. But you know that Keir Starmer is going to bend over backwards to appease to whatever culture is out there. It's like Piers Morgan, that he would prefer to trade one of his compatriots for a dish. He said no to all of them. Instead, he wants to ban X. We all know why. I could be talking about that. Maybe that is a topic. Maybe I could talk at the end of this live stream about why they want to ban X and Grok because of this imagery. Maybe I would talk about that. He wants to do so many things. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer wants to send troops to Ukraine to fight the Russians. He wants to send troops to Greenland to fight the USA. But he won't send the British Navy to defend the English Channel from inflatable boats with thousands of Muslims invading England. Of course not. That would be Islamophobic. And this is the clip that I wanted to show you. Keir Starmer tells the House that he won't ban cousin marriage. The amazing thing is that he's currently trying to ban X, meaning that the British government would rather you marry your cousin than use this app. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that marrying your cousin is a bad idea. Your kids are going to end up voting for Labor, voting Democrat. They're going to be retarded. That is the reality. And what happened here? There was this discussion in Parliament, and this was the result.
And marriage between first cousins carries significant health issues, many of which aren't even knowable until post-birth. When practiced generation after generation, there is a significant multiplier effect. In addition, the real impacts for the openness of our society and women's rights in our country are also significant. After all, there are significant dynamics in sharing a same set of grandparents. On Friday, this government has a choice to let my bill go through to ban first cousin marriage to committee stage. Will the Prime Minister think again before instructing his whips to block this legislation?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we've taken our position on that bill. Thank you.
That completes Prime Minister's questions.
In other words, we already discussed that. We're not going to discuss that. Cousins will keep marrying. We'll keep marrying. I knew that I have a problem here with my, oh my God, with a light. I know that I was like in a light. Cousins will keep on marrying. Kids will keep being retarded. And there, as you heard that, going to be a compounding effect over time. Compounding effect over time. And I guess that Keir Starmer doesn't have a problem with that. This is the world that Britons are living. This is the hell that the UK is going through. Why is this happening? I think that one of the worst problems nowadays, and that's something that we need to address, is that people have lost faith in institutions, in politicians, in everything. And of course, people have lost faith in voting. And I need you to understand one thing. Maybe you think politicians have the power to cheat. But if I have learned anything, if, I have to make maybe my live stream tomorrow, my live stream number 100 is going to be about election fraud. That is a nice topic to have a 100, number 100 show. Maybe you think you have fraudulent elections, that they're always going to cheat. Yeah, but the less people go to vote, the easier it is for them to cheat. So at least going to vote helps making the cheating a bit harder. Unless you're in Venezuela. If you're in Venezuela, you're pretty F up because they have perfected the process of stealing elections to a point that it was not worth it anymore. I could understand people not wanting to vote, but if you are in the United States, in any state, any state, if you're in the UK, if you're in any country, voting should be the first line of defense. Should be out of the question. You should vote. Because please remember the regret that I have not voting against Hugo Chavez back in 1998. I still have regrets because of that. I still have what would have happened if I had voted. Maybe one vote wouldn't have done any difference. My vote wouldn't have done any difference. But I don't feel any better with that because I guess that millions of Venezuelans thought the same, and we paid the price. We paid a very hefty price for that. So my advice, my heartfelt advice, is that no matter how much you think they're going to cheat, make sure you vote. And before you vote, make sure you are registered. And make sure that the records of where you're going to vote and, all the things before voting is correct and up to date. Very important for my American friends, 2026. In November, the midterms are going to be critical. This is important. I know there's a filibuster that we don't like in the United States Senate. I'm going to talk about that in another show. Let me recover a bit from the trip. I'm going to be talking about the Senate. And but it's the only way. It's the only way. I'll say a couple of more things about the wonker Imagine having a leader who boasts about how many people he has arrested for social media posts. That is exactly what Keir Starmer did. Disgrace of a man.
400 people now have been arrested. 100 have been charged, some in relation to online activity, and a number of them are already in court. And I'm now expecting substantive sentencing before the end of this week. That should send a very powerful message to anybody involved, either directly or
indirectly. And well, the top 5 European leaders with the lowest approval ratings ever recorded, according to Daily Romania. Emmanuel Macron, 11%. Keir Starmer, 11%. I wouldn't be surprised of these numbers. Maybe I don't know what is happening in France, but I do know what is happening in the UK. I do know what is happening in the UK, and I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that 11% sounds a lot. It should be at least one digit. I don't know, 5 to 6%, something like that. That would make much more sense. But I don't know how long for the next general elections it will be absolutely too far away. But let's try to address a couple more topics.